Hey, here we are. We might be drunk. We're back. We're doing it. Nate Bargatze, everybody. What's shaking?
Thanks, buddy.
One of our faves. This is exciting for us. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know. I haven't seen you in a while.
I've seen you a couple of times on the road, which is fun.
Yeah, that's always fun.
He just saw Chris Rock on the road.
Yeah.
Oh, where at?
We were in St. Louis, and he was in the same hotel, and I wasn't going to say anything, but he came over and hung with us a little bit.
Oh,
so,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and he was, and then I ended up going to his show after my show, and it's like just cool to see jokes in an arena.
Yeah.
You know.
Where was it? St. Louis. Oh, he was in the St. Louis arena. What? Is he by himself?
He was with Chappelle.
Oh yeah, yeah. What do they do? Does he go? Chappelle goes last, and then
Yeah, well, Chappelle, his private jet, there was a motor problem, so Rock was like stalling. So he did like 90 minutes, and they had Rick Ingraham go up and host in between, like stalling. And Chappelle, I was like, this is like a long show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like probably like a 4-hour show.
did he know you were there? Like, I mean, they might have had you go up.
Oh, yeah.
You,
I mean-
Veter, they go.
Yeah.
Just stalling for Chappelle.
Yeah, I don't know if I could be. I wonder if I'll ever be the comic that can be like, I got to do an hour. All right, I'll just do 90. Like I don't know.
You don't have it in you.
I'm the same way.
I'm like I gotta. I can do what I got.
Yeah.
I'm not just sitting on.
Yeah, whatever they tell me to, whatever I'm like, I have to do. I'm like that. I feel like if I'm doing 60 minutes, I'm like, I have 60 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have an extra minute.
No.
Because otherwise it just turns into like, is this anything? What's going on with this guy? It just falls off a cliff. The quality goes way down.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get those crowds where it's like you need to turn defense into offense a little bit.
Yeah.
And then that buys you a few minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I had to fight him a little bit to get him, and now.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like. Jay used to have to do that with doing
J.
Caroline's, Big J, Caroline's for Paul Mooney. Because I remember, Paul Mooney would never.
He would show up an hour late.
Always late.
He would show up super late. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Don't care for fruit on my drink. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Beard Jew.
But there, it was, he would show up like an hour. You didn't know. So you'd have to go up there. It's probably something good to learn how to do, to be honest. And it's a weird one that I don't know where you can really learn it. You have to be in a pretty unique situation to have to learn how to do that.
Right.
You have to have an older headliner who's
You
just
have to have
jaded
an
as
older,
fuck.
yes,
Who shows up an hour late.
yeah. You kind of really have to have that. Like, yeah.
And it's a black crowd, so it's like you're out of your element a little bit. It's good in every level.
Yeah, Jay would have to, he'd have to go up there and just, you just didn't know. You didn't know. I remember we went up once, Paul Mooney didn't show up. And then they had, he canceled. So they knew he was canceled. And then they had us, we were doing like the show before that. So they were like, look, Paul Mooney's not coming, but we have another show. And then so it was just like, it might be like me, Veter, like, it was like just not what the people that are there to see Paul Mooney are there to see Paul Mooney.
And not these two whites.
But it was like a, one of the, like a showcase show. So it's like 5 white comics.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And 5 low energy whites.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Paul Mooney's whole act is shitting on white people.
Yes.
And then here we are.
The
White man can't
mindset-
jump. Who cares? They own the team. It's like, that's his material.
Yeah. The mindset is just, it's an adjustment.
Yeah.
To go.
He was funny as hell, though. Paul Mooney really
Yeah.
was a funny dude.
He's a legend.
But he was another dude that would do like 2.5 hours if he felt like it.
Just sitting there.
Yeah, I like that's maybe you get I don't know. I try to think if you ever get to that point where you just could go up there and and just talk.
I don't have that.
But those
I
guys
don't
weren't
have that
putting out
either.
specials like you. I mean, you're putting out a ton of specials.
That's true.
Yeah.
So maybe if like because you're not repeating old material.
No, in my hour.
Yeah.
I mean, right now I have because the special comes out next week, January 31st, Amazon, and
There you go.
So for the new hour, I had a few minutes that I cut out of the special. So I was like putting that in this new one. But then I was able to do like an hour, but man, this past weekend I had a couple, I thought like, all right, I could an hour I can kind of do. I don't really have a closer, but I was able to kind of figure out for this one way to have a closer. And I had a couple good nights where I was like, all right. And then then the other nights I was like, I'm not even going to hit 30. I mean, I could do. I have like a good 30 minutes. That's like, you know.
What do you? But don't you said the special's coming up? I mean,
so I had some people come. Oh,
like you said, your closer's almost there, not there.
Do you want a new hour by the time a special comes out?
Yeah.
That I mean, it's very hard.
It's very hard. It was October when we taped, and so but I mean, it's a new tour. I put all new material. You know, I put all this stuff on it, but I think I'll have it. I think I'll have it. I had the problem where I had some people travel. Like people came to the show. They're like, "Oh, we've heard this material." You're like. I mean, that kind of took me by surprise, which was very nice, but it took me by surprise to be like, well, the special's not out, and I'm in a new town,
right?
So I didn't think people were, you know, I was like, well, I haven't been in this town,
and it's two people, but it still gets in your head, You know, if two people have seen your act.
Oh, I had that once. I remember I did like all new stuff in Louisville. And I was like, fuck, it's like 55 minutes. I don't have anything else. So I just did an old bit and someone screamed out the punchline.
Yes!
And I was like, oh, I was so upset with myself.
It was Viter.
Sometimes you can make the announcement, I think helps. If you go, especially when if they're coming and you go, look, that's as far as I could get with new. I'm going to just close with some, but if they're aware, it's exciting and like, you know, it's like instead of, because I learned if you mix it in and say you do, like you did, if you do 55 minutes and 5 minutes old, but you mix it in and don't address it, then someone goes, he did a lot of old, some new. And you're like, no, I did. Because they're not, no one's timing you. No one's like watching you at the time like that. So they just, if they hear one old thing, they just think, he's doing
I had that
a mix.
Recently, I did 3 old jokes, and the whole rest of the hour is new. And somebody goes, I heard it all. Heard everything. And I'm like, the rest of it's new. I've never done it here. And they're like, nah, I heard it. I was like, it was 3 old jokes.
But if you say it, then they go, he was like all new. He did an old joke at the end. Like, you could probably do 20 minutes of old at the end, but they would think it's the other way.
Exactly.
But I don't, negative. But I got to get new stuff. The hard part of getting new stuff now is just you get busy. I'm busy and like you're.
Experience.
You're doing You're doing all this press to promote.
You're doing all the press for the special.
It's hard to write.
It's hard to. Right? Yeah, it's hard to work out, and it's hard to live. Go live normal.
Yeah, totally. You can't be like, I got this press bit.
Yeah.
You know, that's not relatable.
Yeah. You guys do podcast interviews or do you do? Yeah.
No, it drains
a lemon
you.
On your Diet Coke and a pod.
He goes, this guy. And I'm just trying to stretch it out into like a 30-minute bit. Yeah.
Oh, remember those old days where you're like, I got 20, I can headline. I can just go, I just stretch it out. I'll do a little crowd work. I'll talk slower. Never worked.
That's why I love Viter, because I remember when we were all brand new comics, and I'd be like, everyone would be like, how much time do you have? Everyone would be like, I got 45. They'd be open micers, but they say that shit. I'd ask Viter, and he'd be like, 19.
Yeah. You never have as much. It's in this new hour. I thought because I did an hour one night, and then it was like, it was like 2 nights later. Just the grips you have to come with to go like, I'm lucky if it's a solid 25 minutes. Like when you really, if I really look at it, like if the audience is unreal, we can do an hour.
Yeah.
That's the thing is you got to play to like the worst. You're like, what is this for the worst audience?
Yeah.
Because I had the same thing over the weekend. This is my first like theater run of shows, and I was kind of like, wow, the first few nights I'm really ripping. And then I had the worst show was at the end, and they weren't even bad, but they were the worst of that show.
Yeah. Right.
And you're like, this joke's got to be better. This joke's got to be better.
You need those. Though.
Yeah, you need them.
Yeah, you learn like they're all great, especially when they're coming to see you. Every show's going to be great. So, but you need to know which ones are bad,
right?
Because you can't just go they're all great. And they're not bad. Bad is not a good word. You know, if audiences listen to this, like you're not saying bad, but it's like comparably, like some places are going to, you know, it's a Thursday night or it's a Sunday night or it's Saturday or like, and it doesn't matter. Whichever ones can be weird or they can laugh quicker or whatever it is. But you gotta know, because if you're not aware of that, then I think as the second you kind of become unaware of stuff is when it all ends.
But also too good a crowd can be a problem. Like you see that when they're too good, you get confident in bits that are weak. I mean, there was that peak Dane Cook moment where people were just like, woo, too. Like after his bits, I'm like, that's not good for fucking comedy.
No. But you gotta be aware of it. You gotta if you're aware of it, I think you know what's happening. Maybe you realize, all right, I gotta, I don't know, not do arena, do your arena thing and then do it. You did it and then back out of it and then go back to regular. I mean, that was like Steve Martin. I feel like he just got too big.
Yeah.
You can get too big for what it is.
Right.
But if you set the tone of what you're doing too, then you can do it forever. Like I talked like Burr, like I talked about this today, but with Opie and Anthony, when he had the Philly rant, I remember going to watch him at Caroline's and like people yelling stuff out, and he was like, "I'm not doing that." Like Burr was he set the tone to be like, "No, I'm going to do new stuff," and like and now it's like no one even would ever yell out the city. Like it just would be weird if someone did that. So he set the tone for what his show is and being a comic, and you're coming to see this act, and that's what you're coming to see. And if you set the tone for something else, you can get yourself, because you can set the tone too long where you just kind of go like, well, I'll just do this, or I'll roast them for what, it's like, well, quickly that's what you're doing.
Yeah. And then you're that guy.
And then it's like, then that's tough to get out of, because then you got to get people back.
Right. Well, you're good.
I don't want to do that.
I mean, how many shows did we do in New York where it'd be like some high energy guy, and then you would go up after and be like, "Hey, everybody," and I was like,
"You made them come to you always." That was something that I remember. We all did a show once, and everyone bombed except you. It was at Caroline's because I think they were just this awful, terribly behaved crowd, and you just got quiet.
Yeah.
And it was like rough for the first few minutes, but then by the end they were like, oh, so you could tell they respected you.
Yeah.
And it was like a cool thing. No, I mean, everyone bombed, but you were the only one where I was like, oh, he didn't pander.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Well, I learned that because I did it. I did pander on once following like Rory Scovel.
Funny guy.
Had like a, festival, like Bridgetown. And, he goes on stage and he does his thing where he's being Rory. And then I kind of try to go up there with that same energy, and it like went really bad. And I knew not to. Huh?
You did a gay Southern accent.
Yeah. Well, it's like he's, because there you're at a festival. It's like comics and like they love it's like they love that it's weird and like all this kind of stuff. So you're like, oh, I'll try to be weird, and then I bombed. And I talked to Jay Larson after. He's like, yeah, because you try to act like you were Rory, and like, and I was like, yeah. And I remember, and so it's like you learn to like go, I'll just die with, if I'm going to die, I'll die with what I know what to do.
Absolutely.
And,
here.
Because it hurts to bomb as not you.
I
mean, you really
you don't want to pander
out.
And eat shit. That's the worst.
Yeah, you really stick your neck out, and then it's just like.
But I remember, I think of that set a lot. Is like, okay, you can. There's ways to change gears and grab them, but there's ways to change gears as you. Yeah, and you did that. That was like what was a cool moment, especially when we were like younger comics.
You learned which material like. It's like I never really had dirty material, but it was like, all right, but it's like I had marriage stuff. So it's like, all right, if they were this, I could be like, I'll just do marriage,
Right.
Or I'll do, if they're young, it's like, you just go, all right, I'll do, I don't know, stuff not being married.
Right.
And like you just end up kind of doing. It's interesting to get to, I mean, as you're seeing, is a point where you are both selling out and people are there to see you, but it's like stuff has to change because of that, because that they know you.
Yeah.
And trying to stay good, knowing that they know you, because you can get laughs. You can see how comics could become not good. Because they're going to laugh where you're like, all right, if I could just make that they like me.
Yes.
So you can get a point to where you're not being funny, but you're like, I know they like me, so I'll just make sure they keep liking me for the next hour.
Right.
But it's like, if you watch it outside of that room or that whatever, it's like, oof.
Yeah, but joke is like an A with your crowd, and then it goes to a B. You're like, oh, that joke sucks. Because this is my crowd, and it was still a B. So I got to work on that one.
That's why the cellar is great for us when we're off the road, because you go up and you're kind of like, that one didn't do that well.
Yeah,
and you can't just blame. Look, they're a little younger than they were a couple years ago. You can't. You gotta blame yourself.
Yep.
But you're a dude that's on the road so much. I mean, like you're a dude I ask for advice a lot. Yeah. Like I'd see you. I remember I saw you in Springfield, Missouri, and I was in the club and you were in the theater, and I went to watch your show.
I let him know that. I made him come. I wouldn't talk to him. I talked to him in a separate room.
I don't want your club energy on me.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh shit, this and I remember you were on the tour bus and you were like, you got to hit every city.
Yeah,
that's always been your attitude, right. And it's a lot of comics don't have the endurance for that.
No, they don't. And I mean, you can see. Look, you see the comics that can. It looks like they're touring and selling out a lot, and then it's like, well, go look at where they're playing, and like, is it New York, Seattle, Chicago,
LA.
LA, kind of the major cities, like they're. And then, and look, some comics don't want to go play in, you don't want to go to Jonesboro, Arkansas, or you don't want to go do this stuff. But if you look at like Gaffigan, you're like, that guy's built a wealth of fans that for whatever it's worth, you can't go you're not selling more tickets than that guy. So, and as comics, where it's like sometimes people can have like the industry love and all this kind of stuff. And there's and it's like, it doesn't relate to money, but I would imagine it would be like, a billionaire meeting a guy worth $50 million, where it's like, he's like, no, that's great, dude. I think that's awesome that you have that much money. You are rich, but you're not him.
That's a good
And
analogy.
there's a different kind of like, it's like that guy's like, I'm going to go to my plane and fly home. He's like, no, you're going to fly in someone else's private plane. That's great. I own this plane. Like, there's a way that you can. It's obviously I'm not talking about money in that way, but it's just talking about like getting the fans like that to be like, Gaffigan can go everywhere. Like Gaffigan can take chances to go. He went to Russia. I mean, he went to he can do whatever and go perform everywhere. And
I'm not going to Russia.
Yeah, you got to draw the line somewhere.
I'm not doing
what
that.
about Ukraine?
You go there now. They got money.
Yeah.
Louis had the show that Friday that the war started.
That's right, in Kiev.
Oh yeah.
Some stubborn comic would have been like, "Well, fuck, we're doing the show, dude."
Yeah, we're doing it.
I'm opening.
I mean, look at Louis. Louis goes around and can go everywhere, and like there's a way of that you want to be able to go. To be able to go play everywhere in the whole country I mean, you see that it's not easy, and it's not easy to have all of them be fans.
Sure.
And it takes a lot of work, and it's always worth something going. I feel like there's a way to go. You want to go for it when you know that someone will not go for it, and then they're telling you why. Like, well, I don't want to be on the road that much, and you're like, yeah, because you can't. Because I don't look at anything as like, you're not making that choice. You're not making that choice because you really don't want to be on the road that much.
Right.
You're making the choice because you can't. And so but you say it, and well, I don't want to be gone that much. And you're like, no, you would like to be gone that much.
Right.
You went as far. This is where you can stop, and they could.
Yeah.
But that is so much more work to then go past that and to go everywhere.
You're justifying it. I have a sober friend. And I'm always like, well, I drink, but I can always get my shit done. He's like, you're justifying.
Yeah.
It's like a sober thing that he always calls me out on. I'm like, I get everything done, and I drink. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I don't really get that hungover, and if I do, I push through. And he's like, you see, you can't stop. So he's always giving me shit. Same thing with the road. Like, you gotta connect. I don't do those gigs. And you're like, you want to do that gig?
We'd be going up in the city when we were doing spots. It's like, I don't want to go to Dangerfields. Like, you're like, yeah, because you can't, or it's going to be hard, and so if you're not going to something that's like hard or like pushing yourself, working out would be you're not pushing yourself to a limit of uncomfortableness.
I'd rather go to Russia than Dangerfields, honestly.
Yeah.
That was a pretty rough room.
It's the same way. It's the same thing.
That was a tough room. I remember the velvet seats and the
Bridge and Tunnel.
I remember they would have you do 25 minutes in there.
Yes.
And then the host would often forget. So you're doing like 30, you end up doing like 32.
Right.
There's like 8 people in there.
I remember, you can't wait to get off. You're like, where is that guy?
Dude, I was dying. Because I remember going in at first, I'm like, 25 minutes. You know how much work I'm going to get done in here? And then I just be bombing for 25 minutes. I remember one time there's 8 people in there. I watched 3 people, they get walked in to sit down during my set. And they give it like one joke. And they're just like, And they just walked out. Just a humiliating.
You're doing a long enough time that they think about it and leave. And it's just one comment.
They book a flight back home to Cleveland. That club had a grand piano on stage, and by the end of the set, like, you start by standing next to it, then you put an elbow on it, and you're bombing so much by the end of it, you're like on the piano.
Yeah. That was that was a tough room because it got hard towards the end. I mean, no one was going to it, and so you'd go up, and it's such a long time to be going up and just be like, what are we? No.
But those old sets were epic. Those like Dangerfield '80s sets where he hosted. Those are incredible.
Yeah. I don't think I've been here. I was here a long time, but I don't know if I was ever here where I saw that room be. It was people started going to it towards the end right when I was close to moving is when I felt like people started going back to that room, like they made like a push.
Yeah,
but I don't ever remember Dangerfield's being. I remember the comic strip was pounding when I was here. That's
where I started.
That was the club.
That still can be great. I've done some private shows, and it's so electric, and you're like, I get it. This room's amazing.
The room is electric. The acoustics, it's like a perfect. I mean, Seinfeld did the special there.
Right.
Sandler did parts of the special there, and I think that gave it like a boost. And then I think they just threw it away again. But
the
headshots.
Is it still going? Or
yeah, it's still going.
Yeah.
I go there every.
Is New York Comedy Club at Eastville?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
got a show there on Wednesday if you want to pop in.
Yeah.
No pressure. All right. Well, I guess that's tomorrow.
I'll still go.
Come by. But yeah, I was just at Zany's in Nashville, which is weird to be in Nashville, and you were on the road.
I know.
But Lucy, who runs Zany's, was like, I saw the Nate Hour. It's his best one yet. So I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I was I really enjoyed this. This was material like I felt like it was like I was excited to to do it. Like like where you feel like you have an act that you're like, oh man, I'm like every city I went to, I was like excited to.
Wow.
I enjoyed it, and I was almost like when I taped the special, it wasn't like I was so over it. There's be parts I was kind of overtelling. But there was a lot of it I still really liked.
You didn't get bored with the hour at all?
I did not get and I did a lot of shows, but I really, and it was fun. It's like I'm trying to find that, because you always have in your act, you have jokes that are, you have some parts that you're like, it's like it's there, but you're like, I'm just saying it. Like I don't really enjoy it. And people can enjoy it. It's not that the audience doesn't, but you're like, it's not as fun as this part. And so like I try to that was the closest one where I feel like I had the most fun. And like that's what I'm trying to do this new hour, because you're like, how can I have I should want to be I can't wait to get in every part of my act.
Yeah.
And it's like it's hard to do though.
How do you do it, man? How do you come up with so much material?
Yeah, you're a tank.
I don't know.
Man.
You push it out. It's incredible.
Yeah, you are a tank. I mean, and
I don't know how.
And how do you make the decision to go from Netflix to Amazon for this one?
It was Amazon's making a big push, like a comedy push into comedy, and they were very excited, and they wanted me to come over there and kind of be the I guess start of that. And so they're really kind of doing a thing where they want to do stand up comedy, and I think stand-up comedies, they're showing it's doing really good there now. And,
all right.
So they want to be a player in that game. And so they were very excited for that.
Pretty good pay.
That was good.
Pretty good dough, I assume.
It would, to be honest, it would, well, I don't know what else. I did not. It is.
Okay.
But it's I took I took less.
Oh.
It was
in exchange for more ownership.
I own it.
Whoa.
Well, there you go. That's worth it.
Yeah.
That's
it was so I licensed it with them, and then I own it, and then I could do it. So yeah, owning it was a very big reason.
Huge.
And it was and I do think Amazon is they're going to make a big push, and they're going to be a part of it and do some new. It's nervous going over, because it's like Netflix has the audience, and Netflix changed my life, and I have nothing, and I love Netflix, and it's so it's Netflix is awesome. But going to Amazon was just like where I was at. That it's like, all right, let me just see if if I think this will hopefully be the right way. And owning it was big.
Yeah.
I did want to own it.
Hell yeah.
I wanted to, like having it. It's weird because owning it, like, how you don't ever get, like, it's always hard to get your own special. When you're like, when you tape a special, then you think they're going to be like, here it is, you can have it. And then you can post it. Like, you don't own it, but you just, and they're always, I don't feel like you ever really get it. You always, like, there's like a way that, they give it to someone for streaming it, or like, so people can look at it before they watch it.
Oh, when they say it's on Paramount Plus, a special, I'm like, just dump it in the toilet. Just put it in the. They don't even have fucking Yellowstone on Paramount Plus. They have the other Taylor Sheridan shows.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you want to watch one of his other shows and 900 comedy specials that Comedy Central flush, give it a go.
Wasn't that your last straw with Comedy Central when they said you couldn't clip your own show? And you're like, I'm doing that on YouTube from now on. Yeah,
on Comedy Central's YouTube channel, but they let me clip it.
Yeah,
there you go.
But that was,
that was a fight. Even they're tough.
It was.
Over there.
You know what? They're always. I think comics are always a step ahead with everything because we're in the clubs every night, so we know who's funny before they do, and we know kind of what's working before they do. And I saw the clips were working on this week at the Comedy Cellar, and we were just burning topical jokes because I'm not going to hold on to a headline joke, and they wouldn't let us post it, and I was kind of like, what are you doing?
And it'll help you.
You think I want to write a joke? I want to write like 5 topical jokes that are funny jokes that are only going to air on TV, where like 3 people are going to watch it while folding laundry or beating off in the background. Exactly. Like no one's paying attention to this shit.
No. Yeah. Beat off to my YouTube channel.
Exactly. That's what I say.
Yeah, comedy. They've made some mistakes, but where are they now?
What, Comedy Central?
Yeah.
They laid off a lot of good people. It's not a good. It's not a good story. It's not like a happy story.
No.
He showed them though.
Well, it's scary because you never know what the new thing is. Like when we started, Comedy Central was the end all be all, or maybe HBO, and now you're like, fuck that, and then you're like, HBO, I don't even know if I would, whatever, and then who knows if Netflix will go away.
That's why you tour.
That's why you tour.
That's why you tour.
And you set up a good tour. Like, I ask Gary a lot. I'm like, would Nate do this? I'll do that sometimes. I'm like, what does Nate do? Because I just trust what you would do.
Because you've been clean and pray.
But,
it's
you bring a good crew with you on the road. Your tour manager's like a childhood friend.
Yeah. You both bring
you surround yourself with good.
Yeah. It's, you want to create the hang and the like it's being you want to be funny, like you're going up and doing club spots and hanging out in New York City, like that's where we were all being funny all the time and making a lot of jokes, and it's hard to do that when you start touring because you're gone really. And so you bring all comics, and I bring 2 comics to open, and it's just to so we have a fun, like after every show, like where it's a lot of jokes. It's a lot of like, being funny, and it's just trying to almost that, that cellar table vibe. Right. It's like you got to kind of take it with you, because otherwise you're going to be out there alone, and then and that's going to be easy to kind of just get lost in your own self. Totally. Because you're getting told you're great all the time or all this stuff, and you need to be with comics that are, I don't know. It's like that we've all known each other forever. Right. And so you get to hang out with them, and then and then I always think about the show I'm bringing, where I'm bringing comics that are like, everybody's on TV and everybody's done stuff, and so the show that these people get to go watch is pretty great. And you're like, you want to, it's like, and then everybody's got to be clean on my show, obviously, but it's like, so like with clean comedy is like, we just did Mike Vecchione's special. And
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
And so it was like making his special and like the crowd getting to see him and stuff. It's like I have an audience that a lot of times a lot of people don't care about being clean or not clean or whatever. A lot of fans that are fans of you guys, that come up and say stuff and tell me that. But then there's fans that are there because I am clean. And so like it's like to give someone like Mike Vecchione to like a clean comic. Or like, he was always kind of basically clean, like could be clean. So it's like to give that audience to see him. It's like they just don't always going to see that level of comic. Yes. That they would get to see.
And there's so many guys. Vecchione is hilarious, and he's been
So
hilarious
underrated.
for 20
Google,
years.
Follow Mike Vecchione on social media.
We have his special come out probably in March.
Phenomenal.
Nice.
His album. What's The Worst Kind of Thoughtful? Is that the name of his album as well? Which is also killer.
Muscle Confusions.
He's a 10-minute joke on the bus. That's one of my favorite jokes.
Oh, really?
He's so funny and such a great guy too.
But there's so many guys like this who are so funny and underrated and just silently killing all over the country. But the industry kind of won't throw them a bone. That's why it's great when guys like you or other headliner comics can.
Well, he's a
promote.
headliner, Mike. But
He's a headliner.
Yeah, you know, but like a
61,000 followers on Instagram. I mean, he's doing
his
all right.
joke. I love his joke about how he signed up to be a private detective online. And they just took his money, and he thought either I just got ripped off or this is my first case.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Great,
Great. He has so many jokes like that.
Dude, he's got stuff. I mean, he murders when he goes out, and that's what's great is because I have to follow that too, so it helps me. It makes you like stay.
Yeah,
you have to be good. Like I mean, because they're watching a great show before I get out there, and so you got to live up to the hype and be better, and like not be better, but like be as good as these guys.
Yes. I didn't know there was another Vecchione. That's that guy's funnier.
Played hockey.
He's a pro hockey player, but Mike Vecchione has a thicker neck somehow.
That's crazy that he plays for the Philadelphia.
Oh, weird.
That's true. Holy shit.
Mike Vecchione, Philadelphia comic.
Damn.
Yeah. He has so many good jokes, and he's also just a great dude. I mean, he's one of my favorite people.
Oh, yeah,
as well.
he's the best.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing with like, I want it to be a good show too. Viter's with me all the time. I love Gary
Viter's unbelievable.
And I mean, the first night of the tour, we were in New Orleans, and Amy Schumer and her husband Chris come out, and they're just watching Gary, and they're both like bent over, dying, laughing. And that's such a great feeling that you're like, this is the dude I bring. He's just murdering. Just great
I like
jokes.
that you're naming everybody. All of them think they're doing pretty good, and you keep going. I mean, another guy, nowhere. Gary Vita, nowhere in this business. Lucky to get getting by.
Lives at the YMCA probably.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Fucked. I don't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah, I don't know what he's gonna. I just don't see how he makes it through.
Hopeless.
Oh yeah,
He's gonna be on the street in a week.
yeah.
Is that a set list or a suicide note? I don't know.
Yeah. Sorry, Gary. We're pushing for you. Go book Gary.
Please, someone book Gary.
Someone for both you and Sal.
Yeah.
He's got like a great career, but just saying, I want these people to be more well known.
No, I know what you mean. And
We know how funny they are.
we know how.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of comics. I mean, now and it skipped over a lot of comics. But that's the thing, dude. If young comics, like if you just go on the road, I mean, not go on the road, but even if you're in the city, wherever you're at, just go and write jokes and be funny and like that stuff. If you stay that way, you build your, what is that saying? Like a house on stilts or like what? Like what is the house on?
House on stilts.
I've never heard
I don't know.
Katrina. I don't know. You got to build high up.
It's I don't know.
House on sand or something like that?
No, what's the saying of your house?
Now we're really getting away from what he said.
Something
Yeah,
stilts.
but if you're building, you should build your house on concrete or something, not on stilts. Maybe that's it. But I don't know if that's the saying at
Something
all.
about Gary being short.
Take this as far as
It's weird but people
it's
don't
Katrina.
know that.
I blame bad comics for Katrina. And but like if you built something like concrete that can't be taken away from you. Your material
Yes.
is all that cannot be. It's your worth. It's
the backbone.
what makes you. It's like it's the thing that people don't have. Like
your material
actors,
cannot be taken away from you. See our first two specials on Paramount Plus, where it got taken away from us. And
But then you build more material.
Yeah.
So it's like the more you get, the more you can. Once you learn how to build it, even though it feels like you're never going to, it's impossible to build. There's never, you think there's a solution. There's not a solution.
Okay, is this it here? In Matthew 7, Jesus said, everyone who hears his words and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on a rock.
Yeah.
There's no stilts in there, but I got Jesus
All
in.
right.
There
Well,
you go. I
pulled
like
it
it.
out.
That counts.
Okay,
It's in the
count it.
Bible too, so.
There you go. It's
God forbid y'all read some of that sometime. Take a gander at it.
I have a joke Bible on my toilet.
Yeah, there you go.
It's not the same.
Oh,
I like the Quran.
yeah.
But,
But
Torah?
there,
Yeah.
There you go.
When you want to look your best, the only place to go is the Black Tux. The Black Tux makes it super easy to get top quality, guaranteed to fit tux without leaving your house. Just take the Black Tux Fit quiz, pick the style you want to rock, and boom, your tux is delivered 10 days before the day you need it. That's plenty of time to try it on and make sure it wears you well. And hey, if the fit's not quite right, say hello to the Black Tux Fit guarantee.
Oh, yeah.
I do declare. Order a better size within a day of receiving the less than great fitting one, and they'll send another right away at no extra cost. I've heard this stuff is great. I got to try it. I think they're going to send us one, Mark.
I wore it at my wedding. I mean, that's the biggest.
They got you?
Yeah, what's that? The biggest endorsement you can say. I wore it at the wedding. I bought two. I bought a blue one and a red one, and I put the red one on for the after party.
When are they going to send these to us?
I don't know. I got to send my sizes.
I don't know how to measure myself. I'm not good at this stuff.
Yeah.
Fingy wingies, bro.
Oh, yeah.
And if you prefer an in-store experience, the Black Tux has showrooms across the country. Their expert fit specialists will help you find the perfect style, tux, or suit and make sure it fits just right. Rent or buy, the Black Tux is the best place to go when you need a tuxedo for a wedding or special night. And right now, when you go to theblacktux.com/drunk and use code DRUNK, you'll save 10%. That's blacktux.com/drunk. That's it's theblacktux.com/drunk. THEBLACKTUX.com/drunk. Save 10%. Theblacktux.com/drunk. Code drunk.
Yeah. Hey, folks, it's hard to keep up with a supplement routine that comes with a bunch of different products. I hate it. Just start with one, AG1 by Athletic Greens. It's the morning jumpstart you need. Just scoop, shake, and have alongside your morning coffee. I'm hooked. I drink it every day. I know you're hooked.
Dude, I got extra, and I take it on the road. This stuff's keeping me from getting sick on the road.
Same. It's tons of vitamins. I throw a bunch of packets in my suitcase. 75 vitamins and minerals and a major boost to your gut, mood, energy, skin, hair, and nails. AG1 gives you increased energy and mood support, making it easy to live your best life. If you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 travel packs with your first purchase. Woo! Go to athleticgreens, one word, .com/drunk. That's athleticgreens.com/drunk. Check it out!
Why are you still paying insane amounts of money every month for your phone bill? Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save with phone plans starting at just $15 a month, making saving money by switching to Mint the easiest New Year's resolution to complete. You've given up on all the other ones, let's face it. Loser. All plans come with an unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Love your current phone? No problem. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and switch easily in minutes with eSIM. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to the mintmobile.com/drunk. That's mintmobile.com/drunk. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/drunk.
I just realized, can we get Steph a stool?
Oh, I have a chair.
Oh, okay, all right. I was just wondering if you were on your feet.
No, thank you.
Those whole hours. All right. Yeah,
That's literally what popped into my head, too.
Today's episode is sponsored by PayPal Honey, the easy way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer. Learning about a deal makes you feel like an insider, someone in the know. Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one and finds it to your cart. It supports over 30,000 stores online, ranging from tech and gaming products to fashion to popular brands and even delivery. You gotta love it. I bought some new Nikes, typed in the old Honey. Big discount. Get on it, save some money. Why not? You shop online all the time anyway. Imagine going to your favorite site when you check out. The Honey button appears, and all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. Wait for a few seconds as Honey searches for the coupons it can find. If Honey finds a working coupon, they'll match it to you and watch those prices drop. I love Honey, and you will too. I never go shopping without it. Honey doesn't just work on desktops, it's on the iPhone too. Just activate it on Safari on your phone and save on the go. if you don't really have Honey, you can be straight up missing out on these deals. I'll tell you that. By getting it, you're doing yourself a solid and supporting the podcast. Get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/WMB. That's joinhoney.com/WMB.
WMBD.
Oh, God.
/WMBD. We might be drunk.
Joinhoney.com/WMBD. Get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/WMBD. That's joinhoney.com/WMBD.
Love that photo.
Good pick.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. When you feel empowered, you're more prepared to take on everything life throws at you. Therapy can get you to that place. I'm in therapy. Mark's in therapy.
Oh, yeah.
We do therapy. I think it's hey, I don't think everyone needs it, but if you're one of those people who thinks I don't need it, you might need it. Yeah.
It's like when a girl says, don't wear a condom.
Yeah. Wear that condom.
Yeah.
BetterHelp is the therapy option that is convenient, flexible, affordable, and entirely online. Fill out a brief questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists at any time. No additional charge. Easy. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/drunk today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/drunk.
If you know, like I always remember, like actors, like you see that, you're like, God, you're just so reliant on so many other, like you put your whole career and they can be great actors and get past that. People want that and they like that thing. But it's like writing a show, like, you know, you go audition for stuff and you're like, dude, it's up to these people if they like me or not.
Yeah.
And versus if I just do my act or if I write my own TV shows, it's like, you know, you're just a little more in control.
Hell yeah.
And then they need to go to you because it's hard to create stuff. There's not that many people that can create stuff.
Not just that, but comics really help each other. And I was talking to a musician friend of mine the other night, and he was telling me, like, yeah, we don't really do that in our world.
Really?
We don't really. Well, like, yeah, they're not really pushing each other. Comics push each other. Like, Nate's producing a friend of his special, you know. We're posting clips of comics we like. We're promoting comics. We're doing each other's podcasts. I don't think every world is like that. And we're creating shit and not reliant, waiting on industry to tap us, auditioning. I get auditions now and I'm like, why?
I hate it. I turn them all down.
Yeah,
I've never gotten one.
I never got one either.
I even auditioned for your show. Didn't get that either.
Yeah.
But never got one.
I remember that.
I was hungover.
Yeah.
I can still, when I'm hungover, I can still do shit.
You auditioned to play,
Sorry.
yeah. You auditioned to play me. That's what they brought you in, just to get, like, if I didn't work out, they were like, don't worry, that show
Louis
didn't
Black
go anywhere.
did that. Louis Black auditioned to play himself in a pilot and he didn't get cast in it.
Your audition was tough. I had this whole thing about stilts. It didn't work.
Yeah.
But
he goes, built on stilts. I go, it doesn't make sense. I go, man, it's definitely not the writing. It was doing that when I did shoot that pilot and everybody auditioned for that. It isn't like that's almost it's eye opening to see who comes in for it. It's pretty crazy. It's famous people.
That's why
you're like.
Any names you can mention?
I'm trying to think. I mean, Kristen Alley. I met.
Oh,
Kirstie
really?
Alley?
Kirsten.
R.I.P.
Yeah. But like she was like playing my mom and like I mean my parents that we ended up casting were Jebba Joe Rupp and Kurtwood Smith.
Oh wow, that 70s show.
That was my parents.
Whoa.
In the pilot.
Wow,
That's
is that
crazy.
weird to just put them back together?
They're back. Yeah. Well, we were trying to do it, and they were on. I mean, they're just professionals. Dude. It's pretty fun to see that world be professionals. When we shot that pilot, so we did in front of a live audience, and Kurtwood, like when because they're coming and throwing you jokes like. It's fun. A multicam is very fun for a comedian because it's a lot of like on the thing. We're like, hey, we're gonna change this joke. You're gonna do this, blah blah whatever.
Right.
And then, but Kurtwood he would lay down on the couch in the living room couch. The whole live audience is watching, and he just closed his eyes and just lay there. And you're like the comfortableness that this guy could have. And just be like, there's people there. It'd be like if you just laid on a couch on the stage.
That's crazy.
And then they're like, all right, ready to go? And he's like, all right. And he gets up and just goes and does it. I mean, he's been around.
He's a great actor. RoboCop.
That's right.
Fucking killer in that movie.
Terrifying.
But these the way we're talking about Mike Vecchione as like a murderer. These are amazing actors that may not be like household names for everybody, but think about how many actors there are too that could just like knock your socks off. Maybe the average person doesn't know.
Oh,
totally.
Yeah.
Like
they would do it. You would see it. We had one girl. I don't remember her name. But she was British. She did British and an English accent.
Wow.
In this, same audition, just switched it up. And
wait a minute, British and English?
Not an American accent. British American. And so she did British accent first, and then she did like a Southern American accent.
That's incredible.
And then you're like just doing it in front of your face, and you're like, oh my gosh. We had what's his face from Home Alone, the tall
Daniel Stern?
Daniel Stern.
Yeah, he came in.
How's he doing?
He's hilarious.
He came in. He was he is hilarious.
Kramer, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, fun fact.
Wow.
He came in and he was great. It was like it's him.
You're right.
Like it's like I think he's a little crazier now as he's gotten older, like
QAnon guy?
Randy Quaid.
I don't know if he's that. Well, that Randy Quaid was one that I did think of. And
great actor.
Yeah, but it was like, I think it was right when he was where it was like, oh, he's like gone, like,
He's slipping.
Like, yeah, it's even not even like his beliefs. You're like, no, I think it's like he's,
something behind the eyes.
You know the guy he plays in another teen movie? Like, I think he's become that dude.
Who? Oh, exactly. The dad on that. Yeah, that's true. I could see that. He's got the weird pilot cap
helmet
on. Yeah, from the 40s.
Yeah. No, he's a great actor though, man. I mean. He's around for fucking ever. You look back, you're like, this dude's in movies in like the early 70s.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
It's so crazy, but just the fact that he had a TV show pilot thing is insane that was happening.
Insane. Yeah, I've written a bunch of TV shows. None of them go. That was the only one we shot a pilot.
Well, you're in a place where you don't need it.
Yeah, I still want to do one but it's like now I'm gonna tell you it's nice when it's a lot of work. But it's something, but it's we're all Seinfeld guys, so we're all like that, like we want what he did.
Sure.
And, I do. It's like seeing Ray Romano, like seeing all those guys do these shows. And, so I want to do that. Whether it happens, I don't know, but you try. Shooting the pilot was, it was fun. It was like it's just so different.
Yeah.
And but it was very fun. It was
Did you think it while you're doing it, did you think it was going to go?
Yeah, you know when you walk out, dude, it's like, it was just called the Nate Bargatze show, and you're seeing seeing the people audition for it is insane. It's because it's people that and it's people that you are like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe, like, this guy's famous.
Yeah.
And then they're there, and then Shooter McGavin came in.
Wow.
And like
I love him.
he did, and then they're like, oh, but everybody's like
As your
says they're a
dad?
big fan. Yeah.
Wow.
And like so all these people come in, and he came in from shooting he was in the Dwayne Johnson TV show, like whatever, the Rock show.
Ballers or whatever?
Yeah, Ballers.
Yeah.
And so it's all these dudes, and you're like, you can't believe, because you just, as a comic, we always feel like we're just like,
Yeah.
like we're going to get asked to leave every room. And so
And they have to be nice to you. You're the guy.
yeah, they come
It's
in,
your
and
show.
you're sitting there, and they're saying stuff, and then I remember Katie Hazelton, who she played my wife in it, but I did not read with her at first, because I was like nervous. I didn't want to read because I was like, I don't want them not, like, who knows if I'm awful at this.
Right.
So I don't want to be bad, and then they don't get the part because they're like, like she didn't look, like she wasn't that good. And you're like, no, she was awesome. Like, I am a train wreck.
You're so much more considerate than the average comedian. Most comedians are like, yeah, she sucked. Who gives a shit?
I felt. And so I didn't read with her, but I didn't know that whole world was like, she was coming in to read with me. Like that's, you know your level of audition where sometimes you go and you're like, all right, no one from the show is going to be in there.
Yeah, of course.
And that's one audition. And then auditions like the producers are in their room. Then the auditions like where you're reading with the person in the thing.
Yeah.
So like, all right, you're in a small group.
Totally.
That's only going to be reading with those people.
Right.
And so then I was like, I didn't want to read with her. And then, like, I talked to her afterwards, and she was like, oh, really like kind of taken back by it because it was supposed to be she's reading with me because she's a big time actress and like so it wasn't like she was supposed to come in and just read alone and I was like I don't want to do it. I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't know that. Yeah. And so she thought it was like a bad thing, and I was like, "Oh no, I didn't know I was supposed to be doing that."
What network was this on?
ABC. We were at Fox, then ABC. It would have been on ABC.
That's crazy.
It would have came out right before COVID, and we did an episode on spanking, and I regret that a little bit, just because it was. Just because it was like when you make a show, you're making it like they show it to people, and in your head you're thinking like, all right, we're gonna do a show where the daughter does get spanked, and trying to do something where it's like instead of like trashing spanking, like talk about whatever, and it's just like it's not fun. It's and for that to be the first thing they see.
That was the pilot.
That was the pilot. It was
a little racy for you.
Yeah. It was I just wish I wouldn't have done that.
Interesting.
I wish I'd done done something more just fun.
Did you get notes while you were doing it?
Yeah, you get notes. I mean, when you do a run through, I mean, it's the ABC, the president of ABC, and all of them. They just come sit in chairs, and you do the whole thing in front of them.
Damn.
Ooh.
Was that stressful?
Yeah. I mean, they go give you notes after that. And I told them, I was like, because I was a creator, executive producer on it and everything. So I'm supposed to be in every kind of notes. But I was like, I don't want to go up because I was like, I wanted to give them the freedom to be like, I stink. Like if they want to say I'm terrible, I want them to be like, okay, that's okay. They can say I'm terrible.
Yeah.
But what do you do with that when they say
if they would? I mean, they can. You have a thing where they can cast you out of it. Where like you end up
wouldn't that just
well then
destroy
you
you?
like so Whitney Cummings show no she didn't get cast out of it but like she had those two shows Whitney and then the Two Broke Girls so you just become that where you're the creator and like she was on Two Broke Girls.
Was she cast out of that?
No but she created that show I think and so like I mean she's made it like she's done great right. But like you would just be like that kind of situation where you're just not in it. But yeah, you can get cast out. Like you can.
Wouldn't that shatter you?
I mean, it would and it wouldn't. Like, because as a comic, it would be hilarious to go tell everybody that I was terrible. Like, I would look at it like that, where I would be like, man, how funny would that be to go? You wait your whole life just to be cast out of this.
But I think it would still hurt.
It would crush. It would crush me and hurt. But it's like I wouldn't spiral. Like I think with comedy, you just have. I can still go on stage. I'm not going to spiral out of it. Like I mean, this was written where you're like, it's going to be tough to cast me out of it, and I didn't.
And also, you write it to your strength.
Yes,
if you're writing it.
Yes, I'm being very protected. I'm making sure, like, there was no like. I was like, there's no crying. I'm not going to do like. There's no anything that involves like crazy acting. Like I don't want to. Bunch of big laugh, like I don't have to laugh.
Right.
Like I'm writing it very protective of myself.
The way you deliver.
Yes.
I also am a believer that if like you're writing your own show, like any comic can do that.
It's what you look like on stage. Like you could do it.
If you write it
like,
in your
are you
voice.
uncomfortable? Are you going to be awkward? Are you going to be, what does it feel like? And I did find out when ABC, when I didn't go do that notes, they were like, oh, they wanted me up there because they were like, no, he was all like right. I did it. I was doing great. And I mean, I would ask a lot. Like you got a lot of people around you. Greg Garcia, who created My Name Is Earl and a bunch of others. So me and him become very close. And Danielle Sanchez was the showrunner, and she brought in Greg, which was funny because Greg was helping us, and she brought in Greg, and I didn't know Greg at that time. So it's like a dude that like comes in and like writes like punches up. But he's doing a lot more than that. He's like helped us with the structure of the joke and all this. But I don't know who he is at first, and I'm like, who's this guy think he is? And then you're like, oh, this guy's created 5 shows. My Name Is Earl. Yes, dear.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he's created 5.
And what was he like? What kind of notes?
He's
did you give him?
if you ever y'all should meet him. He's the best. One of the best writers I've ever been around. I mean, it's he's a kind of a phenom kind of person. Very down to earth, very normal, and like he's just great at like making a show. So I would ask him. And because he would tell me, and Danielle would tell me, like, just be like, yo, am I terrible? Like, am I? And they're like, no. It's like, you know that you're all right. The problem's not going to be because I'm awful at acting. Like, if you don't get picked up, it could be for whatever reason, but it's not because I'm awful.
Right.
But in a show too, but if someone is bad, you have to cast them out. So like we had a girl play our daughter, and like there's a moment of where you're thinking like if they go and like have any conversation about her, which there was a little, where you're like, so you have to fire this girl.
Oh.
There's a point there where you're like, I'd just quit the show. I'm not gonna
can't do that.
You
It's almost worse than spanking a little girl.
Yeah. Well, we hit her on the show. But yeah, but I mean, having to like, you meet that girl's family and like the girl's funny and she's sweet and.
But you had to fire her?
No.
Okay.
No, we argued because we were like, we're not.
Wow.
We're not, like, because you're just going like, there's no way that would be a problem, whatever. It's like they're giving you notes and stuff like that, but you're like, it can't be. Getting rid of like that's insane.
Yeah, that's
Jordan
tough.
Rock was in it.
Oh,
was he?
He was great.
Who did he play in it?
His daughter.
Yeah. They make you cast for. He was. He played in. There's a golf shop that we go in, and he played in that. And so he was like a guy that grew up he would have been a guy that grew up in the town. And,
You're a golfer too, which is so you're like one of the younger golfer comedians. It's Santino plays golf, you play golf.
Rory.
I remember when we were in Ireland together, all of us were just so freaking fun. That was such a fun.
Oh,
trip.
that was great.
But you were the one guy that we're like, where's
golf.
Nate? It was like he's golfing 30 miles away. We're like, what?
7 a.m.
Yeah, I had to go golf with Scoville's buddy because Rory was supposed to come and got Amy's movie and couldn't go.
Oh, right.
And so his buddy was coming to play with us. So then Rory just left and was like, and so I just played with his buddy from high school all weekend. But his buddy was awesome, so it was
That's
fun.
hilarious.
But it was like, it was funny to be like, I gotta go. You know what's crazy? One day we go play at one of the courses. So in a lot of courses over there, they don't have driving ranges like we do here. It's like you just go play. And so I'm playing, and I start talking to this one kid, and he went to my high school.
Whoa.
Over there. I mean, he was much younger, but yeah, what are the odds over
That's
there
crazy.
to be randomly golfing at some course and this kid went to my high school?
That's wacky.
Yeah.
Let's just ask this about the TV show, and then I'll leave it alone. What would you rather, though? Would you rather have the show not go or the show go and fail?
I mean, if you have a choice.
If you have a choice, like look at Mulaney.
Yeah. If you have a choice, I'd rather shoot the pilot and the show not go and fail. But it's just because it just doesn't matter. I mean, obviously it did not hurt Mulaney.
No, he's great.
But it's like, I don't know. It's like, I mean, the part of it is you want to see if you can win them over. I mean, that's the idea of
Maybe
it.
you get a cult following there, and that helps set up another show, right?
Yeah, it could.
I mean, great shows that lasted one season.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know. That's a tough question because it's like you would. I mean, if you knew for sure it was going to fail, I mean, I don't know why you'd even do it. I mean, I'm glad I shot the pilot because it's like I did get to learn that. That was a lot. When you see your name on everything and you realize how many people are working and that audience is there, and then it's like when I walk, they introduce you like they introduced in Seinfeld, and they walk out, and then I went out and talked on the microphone. I almost started crying at the microphone, and I never had that really in my career.
Wow.
But it was such a I can't believe I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm going to walk through a door that's fake and go to a kitchen and when they make the house and you tell them how you want the house, and they have a newspaper that's the Tennessean, which is our local newspaper. I mean, they have the Titans calendar as a magnet on the football.
God.
I mean, every detail looks like you're at a home in Nashville. And so
you're Tennessee royalty at this point.
That's what I was trying to tell them, and then, but it's like everything. There's a show didn't go, but it's all that stuff is, I mean, we obviously love Seinfeld, and we talk about Seinfeld all the time, and being able to create something that you're you can walk me in. We remember in Clusterfest.
Yes,
they had
made
that.
It's Always Sunny too. They did Patty's Pub.
Yeah.
So I never watched Always Sunny. My sister's a giant fan of that.
Maybe the best sitcom of the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like it was. But like with Seinfeld, it's like when you walk in there and you see that couch and you see, the thing. It's like I want that. Like you want to create that, and like if you saw everybody love Raymond's set, like you like I want to do that. Like I want to go big. I want to go after something big like that. Otherwise, it's like I don't know. It's like making a.
Well, that's what you do with your stand-up. So why take your foot off the gas with this shit?
Well, I mean,
it's different.
It's
different, but I'm saying
different.
like, why not take a home run swing? Like, why make a show if you're not trying to make a great show?
I'm in my where I'm at in my career now. It's like I kind of look at it as like, all right, if I want to do a show, it's like I want to do it. I want to try to swing for the fences, or I'd rather not do it. Like,
totally.
Do you know Romano or any of those guys where you would say, "Hey, I'm making a sitcom. Any advice?"
Yeah. I mean, the last one I made one that didn't go was with Phil Rosenthal.
Wow.
And so he created Everybody Loves Raymond, but I know Ray pretty well, and so when I first did it, when I first was doing one, I talked to him about it, and. There was a part he said to me where it was, I thought I was going to, like, I really, because we had a pilot, like Fallon, this is one that Fallon was doing, so it was a while ago. And
so Fallon produced it?
Yeah, Fallon produced it. And
Letterman produced Romano.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's like an old school kind of setup.
So it's an old school setup. So, I mean, it was like, this is where you think stuff is like, you're like, wow, this is lining up to be like exactly like Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
Like, and then so by the time Ray's show came on, he was 37 years old. By the time mine would have on, I would have been probably 37 years old. And then Fallon's doing it, and Letterman did his. So I had all these things, and I'm like, man, it's happening. And then it just doesn't happen. And so, but you learn stuff in that moment.
True.
That you will have these giant things that you think if this fails, like it's over.
I'm done.
And then you just you go back to stand up, and then
but your
as long as
stand
you
up took off around that time.
Yeah, well, but I mean everything else go. But I'm saying you have these moments where there's the longer you do it, the more you realize you can't put much pressure on every one thing. There's just not any pressure on it because you don't know what the thing's going to be. You don't know what is the thing that's going to be the thing that makes it like go. But if you're around and you keep putting stuff out, eventually, you are getting your audiences by word of mouth, essentially. You're getting this, someone's going, watch this guy, whether it's clips or they're coming to see you live, and then they come back and see you live. And if you put on a great show, then you got to look, your shows are going to double. You just did 8 shows at Zany's or something, which is in 10. So that's, I mean, you're doing a giant, I mean, that's 3,000 tickets. Like it's, I mean, you do a big theater there. Next time you go, you can almost be like 5,000 is what it's going to be. And like, or, so it's like you just look at like that kind of thing, 2 Rymans. Next time you go, you might do 2 Rymans or whatever you want to go do, but it's going to double. As long as the show, people are leaving and they're happy, it will double. Like it just keeps doubling.
I always worry about it going away. Like you're doing so well now, huge rooms, big tickets. What do you 10 years is a long time. Like a lot can happen in 10 years. I mean, look at like a guy like Dane Cook. He was on top of the world, and now he's still doing it, but it's not what it used to be. And I always have that fear. I
have the same fear. I think like being a comic here, dude. I think we talked about like it's. As long as you're aware of it, and as long as you have that fear, when the fear goes away and you believe the hype, then I promise it will end for you, and you won't have to worry about it. You won't have to worry about it ending; it'll just end.
Fear is good.
Fear is good, and you have the panic. If you have the panic and you have the constant of like you're like, dude, I'm, and it can't be manufactured.
No,
it's got to be real. But that fear is good. But you got to go take the chances with that fear.
Yes.
You can't just stay protected in like a scenario. Like there's a point, look, unless you want to, if you go do 10 Zanies, all right, so what do you want to do? 15 Zanies? Like it's like,
right.
If you want to, then go do
Mark's
that.
going to move to Zanies.
Yeah. But it's like there's a point you go, all right, well, you need to go to a Ryman. And you need to go do 2 Ryman. You need to go do it. Otherwise, it's like, well, what are we doing? Like, it's
right.
You're
Well, you were the blueprint for a lot of us because you're a dude that was ahead of us, and we kind of watched your trajectory, and we're like, well, this is what you do, So we looked to you. We're
well, y'all. I mean, because y'all both were guys that did spots and worked and wanted to work, and and there's not a lot of comics that want to work. I mean, comics that would. I always looked at it as like guys that are like, well, I take Mondays off.
Right.
And like, I remember that. And I just was like, just quit. And it's one day, but you're like, in my head, you're just kind of like, well, just quit then.
Especially in the early days.
Especially in the early days, being like, I don't go out on this day. You're like, what are you talking about? You got to go out every night. You got to. You don't get to have that. You don't get to take Mondays off. Maybe Mondays take off from comedy takes Mondays off for you, but you don't get to tell. You don't get to tell comedy what it's not really on your. It feels like it's not on your terms, especially at the beginning.
Or the dudes with the sense of entitlement. Like I remember we'd hand out flyers, and there'd be guys who would be like, "Well, I don't hand out flyers." I'm like, "Well, enjoy not going on stage, dude. Because you're not fucking funny."
Yeah,
like
we all hate it.
Yeah. We all hated it. It was like you just were like, "That's what I have to do. I don't know what to tell you." It's like I don't trust me.
But you have humility. I mean, we're talking about like the fear, and I think those dudes were kind of like, "It'll work out." Like maybe they didn't have that fear.
You watch them, dude. It's like how crazy is it in your career when you see people jump quick, and then if you stay on like a steadier rise, it's like because you see them go, and then you slowly get to that level that they're at, and you're like because people can make a jump and then they just assume the next jump will come.
Yes,
and so then one of the jumps is not going to come. Like you're either people are going to see through it or they're going to. They don't build an audience.
Right.
When you build an audience, you walk around with an audience. That's what they're talking about with the Gaffigan thing. You walk when he walks around with an audience. Brad Paisley, country singer, said to once, like Gaffigan can go sell out a 2,000-seat theater anywhere he wants to, any night of the week for the rest of his life. Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
That's insane.
That's a lot. To be able to go, and so to be able to go do that, to have that backstop, to be like. He's not ever going to be a club comic again.
Right.
But he does
just won't.
clubs, and that's
he
what
does
keeps
clubs.
him tight. Like,
yes.
Gaffigan will still pop into clubs, and he works on his shit.
Saw him at Gotham last week.
Yeah. I mean, he's a dude that works. I mean, he's...
He had a binder of new shit, and it was all hilarious.
He's a dude also, when I see working out, it almost always seems finished, which blows me away.
I know. It's so annoying.
It's weird. Like, that's not the way I work out.
Yeah.
I work out, I'm kind of like, anything?
Yeah,
it's a lot of that.
same,
It's a lot of, is that something?
Yeah, right.
That's how I build. And I watch Gaffigan, I'm like, that was 18 minutes without a fucking hiccup.
I know.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's new. I'm like, I just did a Michael Richards set up there. And that was my new chunk. But that's the thing about humility is, let me say this, fun fact, Marcus Aurelius, the biggest, most famous.
You just go from Michael Richards to Marcus Aurelius?
They have a lot in common.
This guy's got range.
But he was the biggest guy, most powerful guy in the world at whatever year that was. And he hired a guy to walk around with him and tell him that he wasn't that great. And he said that's what kept him focused. Because it's obviously easy in Rome or wherever the fuck he was to be just like, oh, I'm the king, I'm the shit. I beat every army, I'm the man. But he had a guy going, you're just a man. You're just a man.
He looks just like Vitor.
Yeah. But like guys would come up in the street and like kiss his feet and go, Marcus Aurelius, you saved my family, I love you, whatever. And he'd be like, oh, thank you. And then the other guy would go, hey, you're no better than him. And he said that like kept him going. Then he died of stomach cancer.
But there had to be moments he goes, I pay you.
Right.
Like there has to be, when he goes, you're just a man, you go, but understand, I'm doing so good.
Yeah, I hired you.
I hired you just to tell me I'm not good.
Right.
When you do show, how big a venue do you do in Tennessee when you're in Nashville?
Well, this year we're doing Bridgestone.
Woo!
So
how many seats?
April 15th.
Don't have Rory open, you'll do them.
Yeah, we're going to try to sell it out. And it's already at like close to 13,000 tickets sold.
Oh my God! It's insanity.
We're trying to make it be, hopefully be completely sold out because I'm gonna do it in the round.
This pod will do it.
It's a big night. I think this will send it over.
Yeah.
And, so that will be the biggest show. It already is the biggest show.
Wow.
We have some arenas this year that are
You're doing
coming up.
arenas in cities, and I'm like, that's a hard city to sell out in, and you're selling out.
Well, you got to see some of them they sell out, some of them they don't. I mean, like all that stuff is, some of like I was in Jonesboro, Arkansas, like there was an arena there because there's just not really anything there to do. But then they just size it down. I mean, but we ended up selling like, I mean, you still was like I forget what 1,800 tickets or something. But you're in, you gotta look at that stuff sometimes because it's hard not to. You see people and they're selling out everywhere, or you feel like they're selling out everywhere, and you can really get down to be like, God, am I going backwards? Like this leg that we're doing this year, we had some arenas set up in some places that we moved them back to theaters before they got announced. And and I got when I got told this, it was like kind of I mean I really it like hurt like because it was like, golly, am I going like is it not? Am I going backwards?
Yeah.
But then you have to remind yourself, like, all right, well, I'm trying to go to places that people are not going, and that are like, that not every comic can
You're the
go
Russell
to.
Peters of America.
That's what I'm trying to be.
Right.
And so you have to then there's going to be moments of I can do Bridgestone and I can walk out and it's going to be the crazy show of my life to like, I'm going to go somewhere else and it's going to feel like, you're like, I don't know if everybody here even knows who I am.
Right.
Yeah.
And
right.
so.
But that's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And it keeps you humble. I mean,
that's
a beautiful thing.
It's all humbling.
Yeah,
So just thinking about the three of you, if you take a snapshot of you from like 2015, and it's like just, almost 10 years later, whatever the hell it is, it's like, you're only doing theaters. You're doing theaters on a tour bus. You're opening. You're doing Bridgestone.
I open
insane.
for people still.
And I just found. I didn't mean opening.
Yeah, I'm joking.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. Oh,
that's wild.
I was giving the same speech.
Well, you look great.
Yeah,
yeah,
you
that's so much better.
It was a mess back then.
Wow. I mean, what year is that? Who knows?
I assume it's
Cabin?
2015. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 2013.
Oh, that was at Molly
2013.
Wee's.
Molly Wee's.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, that's
20,
11 bucks.
28.
10 years ago.
Yeah. 26th Street.
Wow.
10 years ago.
Just take a minute and soak it in. It's incredible what you guys
life,
do.
life is good. I'm grateful for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy, we used to
Yeah,
really
we all
put 'em back.
we all stink. It's
What,
like
Nate, do you have any pet
Good
peeves? Anything that's bothering you? Just basic life?
Something you can't stand. It really grinds your gears.
yeah, I'm trying to think. I have to think. I mean, do you have one or can
Yeah,
you
do you
say
have one?
one?
I have
Let
one
me-
on my way over here. The woman who's oblivious to. By the way, we're in Times Square. You got to keep your head in a swivel.
Yeah.
The woman who's oblivious, just blocking. She's trying to get in a bus. She's having like small talk with the woman who's letting people on the bus, and she goes, "And then I tell my friend, I'm like, shut the fuck up, move. You don't get to block the whole. It's like may as well just be a cone in the street.
Exactly. I'm with you on that. I hate that. We've covered that before. The guy who sits in the turnstile, the guy who stands and checks his phone at the top of the subway stairs.
I think we covered it maybe with someone recently. The guy who's ordering the sandwich but doesn't know what sandwich he wants.
Yes.
At the front, you wait
the
online the
whole
whole
line.
time. It happened to me in Nashville at Hattie B's. I wanted the real experience, so I wait online for an hour. And it's like 6 women all paying separately, all have no idea what the fuck they're going to get. They serve 2 things here.
Yes.
Put it together.
Yeah.
I know. They want substitutions.
If I'm just kidding. I always try to make this a joke, but I don't know if I ever could. But it's like when someone says it doesn't hurt to ask.
Nah.
That always
good.
That's a pet because it does hurt someone.
Right.
You're the
Can I borrow $20? Doesn't hurt to ask. Well, that guy's out $20.
that guy's out $20, or he has to say no, which is not something
Right.
people enjoy. Like you don't enjoy saying no to someone.
Good point.
So you're making someone. It's like, I mean, you can go ask $1 million. And
Yeah.
if you say no, because then when you get told no, you don't go like laugh at all. You know,
Yeah.
there's a moment of like you could, you
geez,
well,
what
you
an
have the
asshole.
money. You know,
Yeah.
like, I don't.
Right.
You know,
Someone asks you that next time, you should be like, fuck.
That
Yeah.
hurts. It hurts.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's a good peeve. That is a peeve for sure.
That's a great one, right? That could be a bit, but mine is so vague. But I hate dilly dallying. You know, when you go, all right, let's leave, and they go, all right,
Oof.
okay, let me see, let me just check my phone real quick. And
This
you're
is
like,
women you're just talking about.
Well,
right
it's just
now.
like get up and go. You're just standing there, and you're like, I want to leave, so let's leave. But they have to like dilly dally, say bye to 18 people, check their phone, check their fucking shoes, tie this, tie that. Like, just go.
Let's take Julian McCullough on the road.
Oh, is he
a dilly-dallyer?
Oh, Julian, I mean, he's the best. But I've seen, those little cologne bottles that you get that are glass?
Yeah.
That you can get like in a package that they mail to you. Mm-hmm. I've seen 2 of them broke in my life, and we're both by Julian, and we're both on my bus back-to-back days. I don't know.
Who brings cologne on a tour bus?
Well, I don't know who has the little ones. He brings the little ones, and he dropped them both in the same spot on the bus, separate days.
Oh.
So the bus just smelled like that cologne.
It just smells like a bouncer at a nightclub.
We find Julian stuff on the bus. Like everybody this weekend, Graham found a watch, a necklace. He'll find his check. Like it's all just kind of like it's what you sign up for with Julian.
Right. Well, he's a funny guy.
It's a fun. But I know what you mean. Like,
remember the
I'll pay before I'm done eating.
Let's just get out.
Yeah, when it's time to go, it's time to go.
I agree.
Yeah, no, I hate the.
That's the whole reason I think you want to be a headliner.
Right.
It's just so whatever weird thing you have, you're like, I'm going to make everybody have to do my weird thing.
You know what I did? You know what I did this week?
Totally.
No one on my bus really plays basketball, but I was like, I'm buying you all basketball sneakers today, so you feel guilty if you don't play with me.
Oh, that's a headline.
I bought them all Giannis sneakers, and we all played every day.
Damn.
Yeah. Did you play outside or you play?
No, we did outside the first day in New Orleans, but then we did rec center. Holy shit, these kids in Dallas could hoop, man.
Really?
Yeah.
We were playing like 23-year-olds. After the first full court game, I was on my back like, and they were just laughing, these kids. But I got back in there, but I was like, I thought I broke my back for a second.
Damn.
It was a cramp.
Yeah. yeah.
But they came to the show, too.
Oh, really?
These young kids from the
there
rec
you go.
center, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my problem. I'm giving out tickets on the road like crazy. I have
Yeah.
one good bagel. I'm like, bring your whole family. Give it to VIP. and
I'll
balcony.
meet them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My agent's like, you're killing me here. This is 28
Dude,
comps.
I remember
Yeah.
opening years ago for Jeff Ross and David Tell at the Borgata, and Jeff Ross's green room, it's like 40 people in the green room. They're like,
Yeah.
we met him at White House Subs,
Yeah.
you know. Then I'm in David Tell's green room. It's just him alone with a cigarette.
Yeah.
He just looks up. He's like, "Hey."
That's great.
The
It's
two
hard
most
not to
different
invite.
vibes.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
Yeah.
One good cup of coffee. I'm like,
You're like,
know,
what are you doing
come
tonight?
on by.
Yeah. That's how you got that 10th show.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
you're
just
at 9.
like an
you
old Quiznos.
got to do 10 of just who you meet.
Yeah.
Where do you work? The bagel shop. You saw me earlier.
Right. So speaking of David Tell, he's the king of humility. He might have
Yeah.
too much.
Too much.
Talk about self-awareness, where you're like, I suck, I got to write more. He's that guy on steroids.
Yes. He is. He's got too much. I mean, he's the best. He's the one that's the most fun. Like I was, they always say like when people, if I had to pay to go see someone, it'd be him.
Same.
And it's like there's no one more fun.
Always funny, always new shit, and just always thinks he bombs. He'll murder, and he's like slamming the mic stand down, like, you guys don't get me, or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's all murdering.
Yeah.
He's the king.
Yeah, he was. I mean, yeah, coming up and watching him was. I mean, that's the stuff that makes, I think, that sets a tone for kind of New York comics, because you really kind of fit in a group. You were not a group or like a line. Like it was like the David Tell, like, which is like Burr, Louis. It's like all of that, like the New York guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't know what the other group would be.
Yeah.
But-
Well, you had your like Mark Maron, Michael Ian Black, Patton Oswalt.
But Maron is watching him because I would go.
You worked with him.
I worked with him, and I learned. I learned a lot from Maron. Maron was what I wanted to be when I would see Maron. Is I would like try to. Maron's such him on stage.
True.
That it's. I remember like being like, how do I get to be where it's just that's who he is. Like if you see him afterwards and see him on stage, it's essentially that exact same person.
Yeah, you definitely have that.
And so to be able to try to, because you're like, I mean, the closer you can get to your real life, the more I think the more material you're open to.
Oh yeah.
Because you're just being you. So it's the more you can just do this, the more you'll be able to talk about, the more it's more conversational. It's more whatever it is.
Right. Hold on. All right. But let me just say this. I had nothing after that.
Yeah.
But sorry, that was a squeaker. We had Jewish deli before this.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, you're good.
Can't
He farted. It was a whole thing.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nate did?
I know.
No.
Supposed to be clean.
Yeah.
I want Mark to have a sitcom just so actors have to walk in and he farts and they have to pretend they like it.
Yeah.
Shooter McGavin's like, that's very funny.
Yeah. He'll be kicked off like Patrice on The Office. Immediately.
So funny to see reruns. You're like, that's Patrice O'Neill.
And he wasn't happy to be there. You could tell he's like, this is a shitty gig.
You could tell
like,
that one
show.
episode where he goes something about what's her face calls him a monster or something like that, and he's like, "I'll show you my." He says something kind of aggressive, and it was, and you're like, oh, you're almost like that's maybe the episode they asked him to do. Like it was like it's like the show's very fun and stuff, and then it's a guy that you're like, yeah, it's the tone is very different,
Not the right fit.
not the right tone.
Yeah.
But great show.
Great comedian, just not the right fit.
Yeah. He's a guy, they said he would bomb so much and he got banned from so many clubs in America that he had to go to London. He went for 3 years.
Patrice?
Really?
Yeah. That's what Will Sylvince told me. And he said in London, he was a comic. In America, he was a fat N-word. That was his line. And that's his line. So I was like, that's really interesting. So he wanted to just be treated like a comic. So he's like, I want to work this shit
I'm going to
out.
text Will. He's like, yeah, I never said that.
Yeah.
That's
No, he said it to Will, but he said the word. But,
He lived in London.
yeah, 3 years because he felt like no one was getting him here. They were kind of just judging him, like, who's this big guy? Who's
Well,
this
Bill
asshole?
Hicks is another guy that did very well in London.
That's
I think
right.
there's like when you have an abrasiveness about you in America, sometimes it's a little bit like this, and then you go to London, and they're like, yeah, that's how we talk. You know?
Right.
If you told me he never went to London, I would believe that, Patrice. When I don't even know when he would have went to London.
I've never heard this.
3 years. Call Will. Get him on the horn.
Yeah,
He told me, but what does Will know?
yeah. I never. I remember when he got kicked out of the comic strip.
There you go.
What do you do with the comic strip?
He would go up, and like they would drop checks, and he'd go up kind of the check spot and all this kind of stuff, and then he'd just be like, the waitresses would be loud. It's like that. It's kind of that balance where the waitresses are just waiting tables. They want to be done, and then he's on stage, and it's like, you understand the frustration that he's in, and the fact that like they're not, but I mean, he would just be like, they're not here to see you and all this stuff, and you come in just getting arguments with them.
Ooh,
We're the
And,
only entertainers that have to deal with that shit, though.
that's true.
I mean, and guess what? If a musician has to deal with a check drop, it doesn't fuck up their song the way it fucks up what we're doing.
Oh yeah,
oh yeah.
I mean, that's
yeah.
why doing the check drop is kind of how you get good, especially with an energy like yours. Like I mean, I remember doing check drops, and I'm a low energy guy too, so I think people were. You have to really have a good few jokes to grab.
Oh
them.
yeah.
yeah.
But I get it. A guy at Patrice's level was kind of not having it. Makes sense too.
Yeah. Well, they would do it back then, and then he would just he would. I mean, really, it'd be brutal with the servers, and and then it's like that. Hey, well, they're just being servers, all this, but you're like, yeah, but there has to someone needs to step in and go. But you have a show.
Yeah.
You're having a
There's
show.
a balance. There's
a balance
yeah.
of like a guy is on stage,
Right.
and you can't just and be like a late show or something, and you be like, people don't know like what it's, when you're on there and you're like, you think this is not fun.
Yeah.
Like it's almost embarrassing.
They're drunk. They're doing math. It's brutal. Yeah. It's really like
it's not. They'd be like doing. I remember doing a New Year's Eve once
Oof.
at Stand Up New York,
Oh,
and I remember I was on. Yeah.
that's a tough gig.
And I was on stage, and I like saying in the microphone, I was like, I don't know if anybody knows that I'm talking.
No.
And it's insane
That's harsh.
to think you just say that to yourself, and it's crazy to be like in a situation in your life.
it's the funniest thing to say into a microphone.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
No one's
Yeah.
aware.
Well, no one is.
Yeah.
No one's even kind of aware that you're doing that. You're
Yeah.
on stage.
I mean, I've been on shows where you're at 20 minutes in, it's going so badly, you're like, should we just let's all, you guys hate me, I hate you, let's wrap it up.
And you want
Yeah.
them to know you're like, I know this isn't going well. Like I have a
Yeah.
higher bar than this.
Right.
I just want you to know I'm not bad and lacking in self awareness.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
And the shit usually works, so maybe it's a little bit on you guys. I don't know what I did in the beginning to piss you off.
Yeah, when people say there's
cut it.
some comedians say there's no bad crowds, I'm like, that's insane.
That's insane.
That's a person who doesn't do bad shows
Yeah.
or never did. Maybe
I've had ice and fries thrown at me. That's a bad crowd.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
You ate a few of the
I've
fries.
had fries thrown
Yeah.
at me, yeah.
Where?
Syracuse Funny Bone.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So they weren't even good fries.
No, I ate them,
Yeah.
but they were not good. But, just
that's
a guy
a fucking
like
shithole, that room.
Yeah.
throwing shit at me, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, what are we doing here?
You go to that room and you're like, there's a reason this is the suicide capital.
Yeah.
Like, this is a dark. This
I'm
is
in a
what,
mall. It's 8 degrees.
That's a long walk too,
oh, yeah.
and long walk to the stage.
Right.
That Pittsburgh Improv used to. I think it's changed now,
It's
but
a
the
new one now.
Pittsburgh,
pretty good
Yeah,
now.
Pittsburgh is great.
Yeah.
The old one I remember, and I did there one weekend, and this guy was hosting, and might have passed away. I felt like I heard that after, but he was hosting. He's kind of a big guy, and so that walk, if you don't like realize or if you don't know, but if you ever go to a comedy club, if you look at where the comic has to walk from to the stage, that one you had to walk down the middle, and it was a very long walk. And so you would have to kind of be, if you're getting introduced, you need to be halfway, and then once they start walking. And
right.
so, it's that thing when they bring you up and you're already kind of halfway down, the crowd's looking at you already. I mean, it's not like I was just headlining, but no one's really there for me at that time. And so then I get done. And so when I'm saying goodnight, I look, and the guy hosting's kind of big dude, knows it's going to take him a while. He's not walking down. And I'm like, oh, man, you're not supposed to leave a stage empty or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, good night, everybody. And then I look, he starts walking, and you're like, I mean, this might be 45 seconds. There's no hustle. And you're like, and I'm like, all right, we had so much fun. Keep it going for you. You forget their name. You're like, the host is coming back up here.
He has a heart attack in the aisle.
Yeah. And he stops for a second because he thinks, are you going to keep going? You're like, no, please come.
Yes.
Please come.
I hate that.
There's no music playing.
Right,
You're just
right.
the awkwardness.
Just keep doing this shit.
Yeah,
You're
you
like
just
the
keep
queen,
waving.
you're just-
yeah. Thank you, everybody.
You ever have someone have a heart attack or a stroke during the show? That's a fucking
Hammer. No. But, no, I never had that.
I had a stroke and I was in stand-up Scottsdale in Scottsdale. I'm not bragging.
Yeah.
It's when they moved it to a
When you
Mexican
can't
restaurant.
get to Phoenix. Yeah.
Well,
the Reno of Phoenix.
It really is.
Yeah.
And they he puts me. It was a nice club the first time I was there, and then the second time I'm there, he just rolls me up to this place. I'm like, "What's this?" He goes, "This is the new venue. It's the back of a Mexican restaurant." So I'm already like, "This is going to be a bad weekend," you know. And I'm on stage, and this old guy, just goes. He just knocks over a drink, and I'm like, I do that thing. I'm like, I guess I'm doing pretty well, And then she goes, he's having a stroke, and I'm like, oh fuck.
You couldn't do that during the feature. Come on.
So I'm like, Jesus Christ, call an ambulance. I stopped the show, obviously. Howard Hughes, the guy who runs the show. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah. I do remember.
He's got a great heart. He makes some questionable choices.
Sure.
Yeah.
So he calls an ambulance. Then he goes on. I stopped the show, obviously. I said, let's see what happens. He goes on stage and starts doing shtick with the guy who had the stroke. So he's like, how you doing? I'm like, dude, he's having this. You know how he's doing.
Yeah.
You don't ask that. And the guy's just like, and then he finally...
Sorry.
And then Howard's like, I've had a stroke. I'm like, you had a stroke because you had 12 Red Bulls and a ton of Coke. This guy's like 70,
Yeah.
It's a different stroke.
Yeah.
So finally they bring him out, and then I just had to go back on. You give it like 10 minutes. But I'm like, this is a fucking brutal. I thought at the strip once, too, the comic strip, a guy collapse.
Really?
That's a jarring thing.
Oh, yeah.
For a person's life to,
Of course.
This guy might be dead. It's like Broadway Danny Rose.
And you got to be funny. You got to have a line, but not too mean, but cut the tension. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
Tim Burge. You're that good. You saw it coming.
Yeah.
I think I did those. It's funny with the stand-up Scots, like those kind of shows. Like I mean, where you go do it one year and you're like, it's pretty. It wasn't bad. He books you again, and you're like, the venue's different. You don't think to look into that,
No.
Right.
and you're like,
Because you don't think you have to.
Yeah, you don't think you
You
have
look at
to.
the offer. It says the club.
Yeah,
Right.
and you're like, all right, so we're the same place. He goes, nah, different part of town. You go, what? And you go,
Walk into a crack house.
Yeah.
He's like, look, it's We're
There was
working on
one
it,
there. I remember where I did. I don't know if it was in Scottsdale. It was kind of in Scott. There was some other place where they made you, if you had comps, if you had someone with you, you had to pay for their ticket to get in.
What?
And I thought I heard a story with Pete Davidson headlined there when he was like 16 or 17, and he had to pay for his mom's ticket because she had to come.
Wow, really?
That's a good person to make an enemy with
Yeah.
early on in his career.
Yeah.
Let me piss off. He's
Yeah.
going to be one of the biggest comedy stars.
Yeah.
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 No, that was a tough room.
They would charge you for that. Was the room in Staten Island.
Looney bin.
Yeah, that one I remember. I got a Diet Coke, and then they charged you. I had to pay $2.50.
It's like, come on, man.
Yeah,
It's out of a soda gun. That cost you 3 cents.
Yeah.
yeah.
I've got the famous story. It's at Funny Farm in Youngstown, Ohio. No longer around. The guy goes, "You want any dinner?" I go, "Sure." You know, I'm staying in the worst hotel. I got 8 people there. I'm bombing. And he goes, "All right, get the swordfish. It's the best thing on the menu." I was like, "Great, give me the swordfish." Ohio, famous for that. And he goes, there's a wine that pairs well. I go, "Give me the wine." All right, I don't even drink wine, but if it pairs, and I get the bill, it's like $260. I was like, "What the hell is this?" He's like, "Well, you got the swordfish." I was like, "Oh my god!" So I was making $500 for the weekend.
That happened to me in Colorado Springs at a club called Looney's with 2 E's. And
Oh,
I remember
boy.
all weekend the guy's like, "You can have a beer?" I was like, "Yeah, probably not." He's like, "Pussy." I was like, "All right." So I start pounding beers. Into the weekend, they hand me a bill. I was like, "What the fuck?" He called me a pussy.
I love that it worked
Yeah.
on you.
It worked.
Yeah.
They charge you for all of them?
All of them.
Oh, my God. What a scumbag.
It was Looney. No,
Yeah.
it was terrible, terrible.
Damn, these clubs. They fucked us.
They make it. Yeah.
But it's kind of funny looking back.
It's very funny. I mean, that's so funny to have to pay for a swordfish.
Yeah, and now you go to clubs, they're like, here's a menu book with all the menus of every
Yeah.
restaurant. Watch out at Bridgestone. I heard they charge for waters.
Yeah.
So take it easy over there.
Well, that's what you start doing theaters. They charge for everything.
That's
Like
true.
a microphone. You know, like a God mic can be on a thing. If you
What?
want a God mic in some places can be charged. Where, you know, that's what they say about Madison Square Garden is like you do it to do it, and then
Right.
you don't do it.
You don't make any money.
No, and then you do, but you do it to do it. I
Wow.
mean, like Dana White said that.
I
thing
bet they
is-
give Billy
where
Joel a
it's-
deal.
Well, he does 18.
Yeah, he
I would-
does.
I would
You know what?
think.
If you do that kind of, maybe do that kind of thing. But
His
they
jersey's he's got like a thing in the rafters
Yeah.
next to the
Yeah.
Knicks. It's
they might not
crazy.
give him a deal though. I mean, like it's just like he comes down, and I mean, you know, it's not like you don't make any money, but it's like I want to say if like someone could make $1 million out of it, like you might take home 200,000, like or something like.
Wow. That's
I could be
wild.
making all this. I don't know.
I've
That
heard
would be
that.
But I
hilarious
think
if you
it's
left with
something like
like $3,000
Yeah.
after you played the Garden.
It's back to your normal 25.50.
Yeah.
25.50 and travel buyout.
Right.
You're like, God, it goes all the way back to
They're like, we won't cover hotel. You're
Yeah.
like, wow, they're really
God, the Garden.
the Garden's weird.
You can stay across the street at the,
Right.
what's that hotel across there's like a
Hotel Pennsylvania.
Hotel Pennsylvania. You go, we got your room there, and you're
You
like,
gotta
I gotta walk over,
Right.
You know,
But I know it's late. You got to do Fallon today, right?
I gotta do Fallon. Yeah,
All right.
Thanks for
shit.
making time
Yeah.
for us, man. It's great
Yeah.
to see you.
yeah.
too.
Great to see you guys.
The special's right around
yeah.
the corner.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Amazon, new Nate Bargatze special.
And you're on the
Yeah.
road. Plug some dates.
Vegas. There's just the late show in Vegas, Super Bowl weekend, and Wichita Falls, Shreveport, Tupelo come out, Baton Rouge, then going to London. First time to Europe, so I'll be London, Dublin, Oslo,
Hell yeah.
Brussels, Amsterdam, then Melbourne, Florida.
Oh, boy. That's a wake-up call.
Yeah,
After
come
London.
right back to it.
Yeah.
Get in the thick of it.
Uh-huh.
Then PNC Arena, so there's an arena.
Nice.
PPG Paints Arena, same thing. I'm paying $200,000 to do it, making no money. Yeah, it's the opposite.
Well, you going to do bus?
Bridgestone,
You don't do bus
April
anymore.
15th. I do bus.
Oh, you do bus still.
Tour
Okay.
bus
I
life,
was on
man.
I was on the bus this weekend. I'm actually getting a new bus.
Wow.
Because you can, if you get a bus, you can. I custom this new bus, and you
How
just
do you
sign like a
customize
3-year
it?
lease. If you're going to do like a 3-year kind of thing, where it's like I look at it as like I don't see myself stopping touring. So it's whether how much I tour. I mean, I don't know, but it's so I just made it where I have like the back area now. I still have the bunks. I like a lot of people on the bus, so it's like it's
I
nice.
sleep well in the bunks.
Yeah, the bunks are great, and if you the back is nice to have. You get your own bathroom and all that kind of stuff. But I like the bunks because I just kind of like a bunch of us on the bus. Like it makes it fun.
It was fun, man.
It's
We're just waking up Vitor, sliding the curtain and farting in his face.
Yeah.
Great vibes.
I'll say
Tour
this.
bus.
I told you this earlier. I did the bus with Bert, Joey Diaz, Shane Gillis, and Big J.
Yeah.
And it was like a sleep apnea convention. It was hell. I couldn't get a wink.
Yeah. Even over the bus noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Farting. It was wild.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
so much,
love
man.
y'all.
Appreciate
Love
it,
you.
man.
See the special. It's going to be on Amazon. It's going to be a killer. What's it called again?
Hello, world.
Hello
World on Amazon. Gonna be big,
All right,
man.
Kill it on Fallon.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, let's get a picture.
Oh, yeah. We'll get a gay photo, and we'll wrap it up.
Mark, plug some dates, brother.
Oh, hey. I'm back in the clubs to run this special, folks. I'll be with Bert at the arena, though. We're going to the Super Bowl. Then we're doing Spokane Comedy Club, Skyline Comedy Club in Appleton, Comedy at the Carlson at Rochester. Then we're in Chicago for the big taping. Then I'm at Laugh It Up in Poughkeepsie. Take a little break for the weekend. Come back home. Miami this weekend. All kinds of fun dates. And we're back in theaters after that. So marknormancomedy.com. Get some Bodega Cat.
I don't know when this comes out, but we got when's it? What?
February 12th.
All right. So what do we have?
February 14th, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah, during the week, through 16th, we added a few there. Huntington, New York, Atlantic City, Royal Oak, Michigan, added Minneapolis, Madison, Milwaukee, New Haven, Boston. We keep adding, so you better buy your Boston Wilbur tickets. And then, Miami, Orlando, Ponte Verde, we're adding a show there. We got Atlanta, Charleston, Durham, Charlottesville, tickets still available. Norfolk, tickets still available. Added in D.C., we got fucking Wilkes-Barre.
Oh, the Warner. It's unreal.
And Portchester. I can't wait. So love you guys. And BodegaCatWhiskey.com. Keep on drinking.
Hell
We
yeah.
got a good thing going here. We love you.
Yeah, get some glasses, get a shirt, and praise Allah. Thank you.
Sunday's the day for my next bender. A bit of Pivarek, the beer juice close. I've had a little too much bourbon, and Norman's talking shit about the fucking Pope. And I get down in the same way. Up on the roof like a cop's coming, and naked Samuel is feeling dangerous. I'm out to lunch here in New Orleans. This woman doesn't look like I remember her.